and was basically told so many times by so many people that like this is a place where I could fit in really well.
Yeah.
And it was a blessing. It was a huge blessing. And I heard that over and over again, that same theme of like, where are you going to school? Oh, man. Well, if you were going to ACU, you would really fit in here. And I heard that again from counselors and teachers and people at the camp. And I just felt the Lord saying like, hey, Mason, hey, I'm calling you here.
What's up, guys? Welcome to The Couch, an Office of Spiritual Life podcast. My name is Nathan. I'm one of your campus ministers.
And I'm Anahi King, and I'm one of the student workers here in the Office of Spiritual Life.
And today, we are so excited to have the wonderful, amazing High King, leader, ruler of midnight worship, Mason Hejl. Thank you so much for being here, Mason.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. You know, guys, I've known Mason for a long time. In fact, I was your little brother Landon's.
Uh-huh.
I was a helper in his 2-year-old Bible school class.
Yeah.
Which, how much older than you? Or older are you than him?
I'm like 3 years, 3.5 years, 4 years. So
you were in kindergarten.
it was probably close.
Kindergarten or first grade.
Yeah.
When I was teaching Landon's 2-year-old class.
Yeah. What were you? 5th grade, 6th grade, probably?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I hated going to Bible class.
Yeah.
And my mom was
Any
always teaching
escape.
twos,
Yeah.
so I'd just
Yeah.
go with her.
Yeah. Your mom taught that class for a long time after.
Yeah, for a really long time.
Really long time. Yeah.
Well, Mason, thanks for being here.
Happy to be here. Yeah.
Ani, if you want to kick us
Yes.
off.
All right, let's start off with a really important question. This, I think, will be important for a lot of people, but we want to know how it feels to direct a winning sing-song act.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Starting off the bat with a big question. So it was such a fun time, first off, to be able to direct and act. Last year during Sing Song, I know that it's always a big tradition. It's one of ACU's biggest, I think the best tradition that we have is Sing Song. And it was a pleasure to be able to lead GSP to victory through Sing Song. It was a great way to kind of use the musical gifts that the Lord has blessed me to be able to direct and lead people in a direction of, I guess, good enough to win. Yeah, and so we worked really hard, and I'm really proud of the work that we did. It's by far one of my favorite memories that I have here at ACU. And the cherry on top is that we did go home with the trophy. But it feels great. But I would have felt the same level of excitement and would have been proud of the act regardless. But I'm extra proud that we were able to win.
I think this question was targeted at me because I was part of multiple sing-song acts.
Yeah.
In fact, I was the assistant director for GSP's Rio Member the Alamo.
Remember the Alamo.
And we got third that year for the first time in a long time, and we did not place in vocals for the first time in like a decade.
Yeah. It was...
And they spelled my name Nanthan in the program. So we created an evil alter ego for me called Nanthan.
Nanthan.
You were a part of the upbringing of GSP, so
Yeah.
Sing Song.
No, I was part of the dark ages that we don't talk about. We went from winning back to back to never winning the entire time that I was in GSP.
Yikes.
And now we're back
Yeah.
wrecking the Heyday with
Yeah.
William Grandel and Mason Hejl.
Yeah, hoping to bring home start the streak again and get that third win pretty soon.
Three-peat. It's coming.
The three-peat. Yeah.
Yes, gotta love it. All right, so let's hear a little bit about where you're from and just tell us a little bit about growing up and getting here to ACU.
Yeah, so I grew up in Austin, Texas, the beautiful city. I grew up at Westover Hills Church of Christ, home of a lot of great ACU alumni, and a lot of current ACU students as well, and a lot of future ACU students.
That's right.
Yeah. The Westover to ACU pipeline is pretty strong.
It's a feeder church.
strong.
I call it. It's a feeder church.
It is a feeder church. And anyway, so grew up at a church that was very pro ACU. A lot of ministers and important people in my life were Wildcats, and so I decided, maybe I should think about doing that. I was a part of ACU leadership camps growing up. I went to Impulse all the years I could. Went to Kadesh all the years I could. Those are middle and high school camps that ACU puts on here, and it really secured this deep love for ACU that I had. But actually, funny enough, if you would have asked me this question like 4 years ago when I'm, preparing to go to school as a senior in high school, I would have told you I was going to a different school. I was heading to a different, another one of ACU's sister schools, and because that's where I felt the Lord calling me. When in reality, I think that's really what Mason was wanting. Until I did a little bit of a deeper dive into the school, and I'm like, maybe this isn't the place I'm supposed to be. And I actually was here for my last year of Kadesh. Again, that's a high school leadership camp, and was basically told so many times by so many people that this is a place where I could fit in really well.
Yeah.
And it was a blessing. It was a huge blessing. And I heard that over and over again, that same theme of where are you going to school? Oh man, well, if you were going to ACU, you would really fit in here. I heard that again from counselors and teachers and people at the camp. And I just felt the Lord saying hey, Mason, hey, I'm calling you here. And so I went home and I told my mom, and we got on the phone with ACU, and here I am sitting on this couch.
Here you are.
Here I am.
That's very similar to why I'm at ACU.
Really?
I'd vowed my whole life. I grew up at the same church as Mason.
Yeah.
We both went to camps. And I was at an ACU camp that's now defunct. It was called Cross Training.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace,
Yeah,
Cross
pour
Training.
one out.
Hey, RIP K3.
Yeah, K3.
But I was at this camp, and I had been telling everyone, no way, I'm never going to ACU.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get sucked into the Abilene vortex. Look how much that worked out for me.
Yeah.
But I was reading the Bible with my group leader.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I could do this every day,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't be upset with that. So then I had to take a step back and recognize all these different voices,
Yeah.
saying, ACU is the place for you
Yeah.
to be.
Definitely. Yeah. And I felt pretty, I don't know, felt pretty peaceful and calm, actually extremely peaceful and calm. As soon as I made the decision to switch, I was like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I've never doubted it ever since. So yeah.
That's great. That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tell us what you are involved with on campus. There are many things.
Yeah.
Tell us what you're involved with and what to you is the most life-giving out of all of those things.
Yeah. Well, so to start off, I mean, I'm a business management major. I didn't say that. It comes as a shock to a lot of people. But I am indeed a business management major. I love management. I love business. I love the people side of business. I love the way that, we're called to be so much more. And so why not do that in a business setting where sometimes, loving like Christ and being like Jesus is not the first thing that people always do. And so why not be someone who does do that? And so, so I'm a part of, the College of Business. I'm a TA for the Entrepreneurship 120 class. That's a primarily freshman-based class for all business majors to take. And I am also a mentor for the entrepreneurship department for the freshman class, which those are two extremely just fulfilling. And I just love the networking capabilities. And I made so many good friends with younger students who, honestly, were not that far apart age-wise. And, those friendships can really pay out in the future, pay off in the future when we do enter into the workforce. Apart from, the academic side of things, I'm a member of Gamma Sigma Phi. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And in fact, I have the honor and privilege of getting to serve as the president for the fraternity this year. And it's been another huge blessing in my life. And I love the boys so much. I love them. And I care for them a lot. And I tell them that all the time because, there's just something about brotherly love that is just too good. And that's, what GSP is all about. And then finally, I'm also Midnight Worship Director, which, in terms of what is the most life-giving, I would say that it's a close tie between presidency in midnight worship, but I may have to give it to midnight because there's something about being able to look out and see that like God is working in people in some pretty crazy ways. And I've just heard so many times people have come up to me and said like, "Hey Mason, thank you so much for for us singing this song." And I always try and like, deflect that glory to the Lord because like, like the Lord wants you to hear that truth. And we just get to proclaim truth every Friday night, and that's so good. And so I think that, yeah, that's the most life-giving for me. But there are several other ones that are up there too. But just, yeah, a lot involved with a lot.
Yeah. Ani, as another member of the Midnight Worship
Yes.
team, I want to hear, what it means to you as well.
Yes, honestly, I would say of the things that I'm involved with, midnight worship is the thing that is the most life-giving for
Yeah.
me. And just seeing how it's developed since our freshman year to now is just incredible. And to see that it's completely student-led and the Lord's
Yeah.
been so faithful to it. And I think that's something that is so awesome. And to see development spiritually as leaders and how we've grown since our freshman year, and just getting to see throughout the years the people who continually come and are faithful and just want to worship the Lord.
Yeah.
So there's just, there's so many reasons why I love midnight worship, just growing spiritually, learning how to be a faithful and authentic leader, and just creating a space for people to encounter the Lord in ways that they probably have never experienced before. And midnight worship might be one of the only places where they might feel a sense of freedom, I guess, in the way that they worship the Lord. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite places to be, for sure.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me, like, of course we have fraternities and sororities and certain student groups that, have had such a longevity at the university.
Yeah.
But almost all of those have, full-time staff or faculty pouring into them. They have resources from the university. And not that midnight worship doesn't,
Yeah.
but it's not in the same way. Like it is student run.
Yeah.
Right.
And it has been here for a decade now.
Yeah. Close
I
to
believe.
12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, co-founder Roy Cervantes.
Yes.
We're working on getting him to come and lead
Nice.
a praise day
Yes.
in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
So we're like crazy that, it's even these people that started it care so much about this place.
Yeah.
That they're willing to come back and continue to pour into it.
Definitely. Yeah. And, we have a big set coming up for homecoming. And there are about 10, 11 alumni that are coming back to be a part of the team.
Nice.
So some pretty awesome people. Dennis Gartman, Joanne Lavaki.
go.
Yeah.
Dennis Gartman Jr.
Yeah. Joshua Secca. A lot of people who some of these freshmen are probably like, who are these people? Who? But a lot of just great leaders. And that's one thing that I love is just that like there's a community that goes beyond just even ACU. I mean, I'm friends with HSU people and McMurray people through midnight worship, and like that's just a straight up God thing. That's like, God is just so good and has provided so many good people. And so it's a great space. I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So with all of this involvement, how do you maintain your relationship with the Lord and find time to, I guess in a sense, slow down a little bit?
Yeah.
And just give yourself some time to take a break, to rest, and to truly just receive from the Lord rather than just lead and serve others.
Yeah. Well, I have been asking myself this question as well, trying to find an answer to it. And so I'm going to try and answer it the best way that I have found the answer in my mind, if that makes any sense. For me, I have found that I just need to, like, if I'm able to spend so much time working on, homework, and my housemate put this so well. He's like, if I'm willing to stay up until 1 a.m. to work on my homework, I should be able to stay up until 2 a.m. reading my Bible, and like, I should be able to give a little bit more if I'm willing to put this much forth towards like getting an assignment turned in, how much more should I be willing to put forth in growing my spiritual life? And I sat back and I said, Ethan, like that is profound. I love that. And so I've just been trying to see like where can I just like give a little bit more, um, but also finding time in my everyday life. Like how can I, start to bring in a spiritual aspect into the times, into the mundane of my life. And as a college student, sometimes that can be really hard because we're going back to back to back. We have schedules that are filled. Um, but like, you know, how can I wake up a little early so I can get into the word? How can I stay up a little bit later to get into the word? How can I finish or be a little more productive when I'm working on homework so I have time at the end to dive into the word? And when I have opportunities, how can I be in and among the people of God with no agenda? Does that mean like a good conversation in the passing, in the business building, or does that mean like sitting down with my housemates, or going to lunch or coffee with someone to talk about faith? Like, how can I be a part of a community that is always constantly seeking the Lord, therefore filling me up as I'm a part of those communities? So, yeah, in a busy life, I think Christ calls us to seek Him in and through that time. And so I'm looking for ways for how I can bring Christ into my busyness while also being able to not rush through life, because that's really important. Really, really important. Yeah.
How do you think your involvement on campus has impacted your faith from your freshman year to now?
Yeah. So, I'm looking back, freshman Mason, I lived in Old Maybe. Room 209. And I definitely like put myself out there a little bit at times, but it wasn't really until I started to get involved in some of the communities that I'm involved in that I really felt my faith just be, I don't know, uplifted. I was a part of, Highland pretty early on, Highland Church of Christ here in town. And I've been a part of them, like part of the church ever since. And so I think just like being involved in a church and in a community that is constantly filling me up, I'm able to go forth, for the rest of my week and pour out that same grace and mercy and love that I receive and that I hear at church, but also just like not letting like what happens in chapel stay in chapel, or what happens in Bible class stay in Bible class. How can I teach others? How can I constantly be talking about Jesus, talking about faith in the communities that I'm involved with here on campus? And I think we've got some pretty great people in charge of the spiritual life here on campus that they make it a lot easier to have those environments and have those spaces, because without it, sometimes it could be, we can forget to bring Christ into our conversations and into our friendships and into the things that we do here here on campus. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you had one encouragement or piece of advice that you would give to new students, or even students who are in their third year, what do you think it would be?
Yeah. For those living in dorms, stay in your dorm as little as possible. If you need, I always completely understand alone time. And like, as a pretty extroverted person, it may be easier for me to say, and for other extroverted people, it may be easier for them to hear this. But the more that you spend out and networking with people and getting to know people, making friends, I just think that you set yourself up for success as you grow in college. But also, like, don't be afraid to try something new, because this is the best place and the safest place to try something new and mess up and fail big. But also know that like there are so many people around you that love you, and like don't forget that ever, because it is true. Your professors love you. The people, at the Office of Spiritual Life love you. The people who, you may not expect, you're prayed over and you're wanted here at ACU. And so, well, I should get paid for that by ACU somehow. But anyways, you are loved, and I'm sorry if you haven't if you haven't felt that. But just I do want you to know that like there are people on this campus that are for you. And yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Thanks, Mason. I really like that.
Yeah.
You guys, if you ever see Mason walking down a hallway, walking a chapel,
Yeah.
walking around anywhere, sitting down anywhere, go up and say hi.
Yeah.
There's literally no one I've met that's easier to go up and just say hi to than Mason. You know, you don't have to have a whole conversation with the
No,
guy.
please don't.
But go meet Mason. He is a wonderful person to
Yeah.
know. And we're just so happy that we got to hear
Yeah.
some really encouraging words from you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. And again, yeah, I'm around campus a lot. I love sitting outside. So if you ever see me, just come say hi. You know, I always love to meet new people. I'm very extroverted. I'm also Enneagram 7, so I love to do it all.
Let's go.
And so yeah. But thank you all for having me.
Yes,
It's
of
been
course.
a privilege. I love podcasts.
All right, Mason, what can we shout out that you've got coming up?
Yeah, so we've got well, obviously midnight worship on Fridays. Pretty awesome. But we've got, again, I don't know when this is coming out, but you know, homecoming, we got a pretty big set, a lot of people we're expecting, and so yeah,
And that's happening in Moody, Friday, October 18th.
18th at
At-
11. It's odd. Like literally everything is different than the way that we normally do. But the reason why we're doing it at 11 is for those old farts that are coming in for homecoming and they don't want to, I can't stay up till midnight, but they'll stay up until 11. And if we can get them there at 11, they can, you know, worship with us until midnight, and then we'll dismiss about midnight. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
thank you guys for tuning in. And look out for our next podcast, which is going to be on dating.
Ooh.
Ooh, spicy.
Spicy.
Anyways, thank you all for being here. We'll see you next time.
Peace.